put a really hyper-specific scenario out there for you guys. Have you ever gotten really excited about a product, went out and got pretty much all of that was available at the time, swatched it, was so hype about it but never really got to use it, and then it's out on your dresser but you planned on reviewing it or using it, but then all of a sudden you started getting emails that it may have mold? Has that ever happened to you guys? Probably not, but that happened to me recently, where my friend messaged me and said, hey, check your shadows because they could be moldy, they could be rusty. I checked my shadows, they weren't. Literally a few weeks later, here I am checking my shadows, getting ready to review them for you guys, and lo and behold, rust, mold. So I figured instead of reviewing these shadows, I wanted to talk to you guys on how you, if you have this product, I want to talk to you guys about a few things. A, how to spot it. So if you have this product, how to spot and what to look for to see if your product might have a problem. B, how to recover it. And then C, how to fix it. So this is going to be a multi-step video with lots and lots of tutorials put into it just so you can see. The first thing I want to show you guys is the product I'm talking about is the Superfoils from Limekime. So I was very hyped to get mine. If you're unfamiliar, it's a product that's kind of like a glitter metallic shadow that's kind of soft, pressed into duo pans, and then if you wet your brush after you dip it into the product, then you wet the brush, and it's supposed to activate it. It's supposed to get really metallic, like liquid metallic, kind of like Pat McGrath on the eyes. And it's amazing. It really was amazing. I was very impressed, and I couldn't wait to tell you guys about it. But like I said, I kind of sat on my dresser and got the, you know, the back burner treatment. So needless to say, it was a little disappointing considering that this tiny little thing is 18 bucks. Yeah, and I have like 6 of them. So yeah, a little bit disappointing. So I looked at mine and I realized it had some spots. So I'm going to show you some footage right now. As you can see, going through the shadows, you can see there's little specks. So if you have this product and you happen to see little specks or especially black specks signifies that there is rust underneath. If you see slight discoloring, this could be mold, or the pan could be interacting with the pigments or the glycerin within the pressing. If you don't see anything at all, that doesn't mean that there's not anything wrong underneath it. So you want to be proactive when you see these things. As you can see, most of my shades have some sort of problem, whether it's a rust problem or a mold problem or a discoloration problem, and it's prevalent in every single duo. This is extremely disappointing. This is not what I expected from Limekime. I know Limekime has had issues in the past where they've had less than stellar reputation, but I continue to support them because I believe that every brand can make mistakes and recover from it. This, however, is just so disappointing, especially since they haven't really addressed it properly. They have pulled these from the website. Now, I have done a depotting of all of mine, and I videotaped and I have videotaped. You see, I'm 90 years old at heart. I have recorded digitally the process for you guys so you can see exactly what goes on. So the one that I'm depotting for you guys today is Gilded Carriage, and Gilded Carriage featured the worst mold of them all. Now this color here, this orange color, this is actually the color of the shadow, but do you see this brown inside? That is actually rust. That is the rust there, that discoloration. And the reason why this is kind of stuck there is because the rust is actually making it stick to the pan itself. So also it happened in other shadows. Like I think this is Barbarella, it happened here. So I start the process of depotting by pointing out that you can see all around the edges is a black amount. There's a black coloring. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this knife, which I have tried to sterilize to the best of my ability, and I'm going to scoop whatever shadow out that I can that's undamaged. Anything that's kind of black or discolored, I'm putting on a paper towel and I'm taking away from the product. So if you're at home and you're following along with me and you want to do this yourself, make sure you separate the discoloration from the shadow that's okay. You don't want to include anything, any of that rust or any of that mold into your new shadow pressing. So what you're going to do is you're going to scoop it out, you're going to put it in like a paper plate. I'm using a paper plate because I'm going to be using it as my mixing platform shortly. Now I'm going to separate the two shades. I'm going to separate the two shades, so I'm going to move one and then the other with the knife. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of contact solution, which is a sterilized saline solution, to this product to help set it. I didn't want to use alcohol with this product I didn't want to use alcohol with this product because I find that a saline solution helps with a more moisture type product. It actually even works with ColourPop, works with pressed shadows that are a little bit moist to the touch, like pressed pigments. I find that this works well as a substitute for alcohol because alcohol can dry it out and make it a little bit crumbly, especially with products like this. So I'm doing that, and I used a heat lamp to heat up the center of the Lime Crime Little Compact. This is going to melt the glue, and once the glue is melted, I'm just going to twist clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm just going to twist together the two halves of the pans, and I'm going to pop them right out. I'm cleaning the inside of the plastic compartment. This way it is clean and clear of any glue. I'm going to put one of the metal tins back in so that only half of the base is showing, and now I'm going to start to fill in with my knife the pigment, and that is now moist and kind of like a putty. I'm going to put that in and smooth it out with my knife. Once I finish that, I'm going to remove the pan out, and I'm going to fill in the other side. This gives you the ability to reuse the compacts because they are cute. After all, we do buy these products because yes, the pigmentation might be good and they might be a good product, but we do love the packaging. And so I wanted to give you guys an option so that you can retain your packaging, you know, without having to put them in little jars or whatever, because it kind of defeats the purpose. The packaging is adorable. So after you've filled this in, you fill it in, after you filled in one side, you take out the pan and you fill in the other side. After you've completed this, you will take a paper towel and gently dab the top. This will help to remove some of the moisture and also press down. Do this a few times, and then I took my ColourPop brow little tub and I just pushed that on top and kind of pressed down the product. You'll have a definition of the duo of the two shadows. You'll have it'll retain its original look without having the metal tins, because the metal tin is what the problem was. So you'll have it press it down until it doesn't, press it down just a little bit until it looks like it's all set and flat. It can still be a little bit moist. It will eventually dry through. So after you've completed this, you should have a product that looks like this. This is one of my pressed down, and as you can see, it looks very identical to how it once did when it was in its metal packaging. Now, another note is if you see rust at the bottom, do not scrape that rust into your new pressed shadow. If you're scraping the shadow out and you see that it's really stuck at the bottom, don't use that. You'll definitely see the difference between a rusted pan and a healthy pan. If you recall, when I was depotting, you could see that the rusted pan had a scraping kind of noise when I scraped my knife against it. Whereas the healthy pan, just smooth rubbing of the knife, you could tell the difference. So what I would do if I were you is I would gently break up the shadow in the pan and then flip it out, and then check the pan on the bottom before I start scraping the bottom. You don't want to start scraping the bottom because you might wind up rust in your thing. Another note that I want to make to you guys is, as you can see, some of these have really minute discolorings, but these are the start of a problem. So you really want to pay attention, use a bright light if you can right up on your shadows to make sure that you're not including a discoloration or a discolored pigment, because they can be small and varied, and they can also be underneath your product. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure that you really inspect your product before you press these back down. I also want to urge you guys to use clean materials like a clean plate. Make sure everything's disinfected. Make sure that your hands are clean, because you don't want to reintroduce any bacteria or mold or rust or anything back into these. Now, the company Lime Crime has attested that this is not something that you guys should worry about, saying it's not rust and it's not mold. But it's obviously rust, because the smell of it's weird. You could tell by the metal pans that this is rust. This is clearly rust. It's not healthy. It's not something that you should have on your eyes. So when you guys are doing this, if you decide to follow my advice, is go with your gut instinct. If you feel like your shadow is too rusted or too moldy or looks too discolored, please do not try to save it. Email Lime Crime, force them to give you a refund. Contact PayPal, contact the people that you contact your card issuer, contact whoever you have to contact to get your money back. I don't want anybody putting their eyesight at risk. It's not worth it for any shadow at all. So if you feel like your shadow is way too discolored, way too rusty, way too moldy, or you just don't feel comfortable, don't do this. It was a long process for me to do this. For me to do 6 shadows, it took about 3 hours to really make sure that I wasn't including any pigment that was discolored or rusty. I really had to sift through it. I really had to be proactive, make sure that it was safe to use. I had to make sure that everything that I was putting back into the shadow that I was pressing down was good. Considering how long this takes to do, this is more of a work of passion. This is if you really want to save this product, if you really loved this product. Do I feel like it's entirely worth it? No, because there are other products out there that have similar formulas and similar shades. However, if you've spent $18 per one of these little compacts and you want to get your money's worth, I think you should take the steps that I showed you guys. But please, again, be diligent. Make sure you're not adding anything that could be unhealthy for your eye, because I don't want any of you guys getting sick or hurting yourselves over an eyeshadow. It's just not worth it. So guys, have any of you experienced this mold, rust, or just overall discoloration problem? If you have you tried contacting Lyme Crime? What have been your experiences? Did you toss your product? Did you try to fix your product? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope that this video helped those of you that have wanted to find a way to save your shadows, or those of you that may have opted to put it in a pot and didn't know what to do with it. I hope that this video helps you figure out how to save your compacts, how to use your compacts for the shadows. And even if you discarded your product, just remove the little metal tin and you could still use these little compacts. If you thought they were cute, use a different eyeshadow and press it in with a little bit of contact solution. It'll help you out, or alcohol, depending on the shadow that you're using. Take a broken shadow and put it right in there. Bam, got a nice little on-the-go product. So let me know if any of my tips helped you guys, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm Recycled Stardust.